All right. Welcome to the games room tonight. Today, early in the morning, I haven't drank my coffee yet, so I probably won't be as talkative. But we're going to be playing Halo.
Halo.
Halo 5 to be exact. And what are you thinking, campaign or online?
You want to risk it? Go online.
All right, let's do it online.
Because I think the best gaming is always when you're losing. I mean, playing a random game rather than a pre-played custom game. But Halo took over from the king of first-person shooters for a long time. It took over from Wolfenstein, which most people have long forgotten, although there have been attempts to rebirth it.
Oh, yeah, I've played the Wolfenstein. Have you played it a lot?
I played Wolfenstein, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and I think the third one, which was a fan remake of the first one. There's a fan remake online. Because there's a little thing called abandonware. Because as you know, copyright eventually does run out.
Oh, yeah.
But Halo took over from that. And that's one of the reasons why Halo games are spaced out, is to maximize their copyright. As soon as the game stops selling, out comes the next one. Because as long as they can hold their copyright, that's another reason why they invented the DLC, downloadable content, another way to extend their copyright on the game. Because as long as they can keep selling the game, they can retain their copyright, their artists, as long as it's the original artists. As we know, Halo has changed hands.
Oh, yeah.
Has had partners pull out, such as the Microsoft Development Partnership. Although they probably still have a finger in the pie as far as intellectual property goes. Never give up the cat cow. Intellectual property. Milk that cow.
Oh, yeah.
But Halo and first-person shooters were a concept devised during the Star Wars era of Reagan's reign. Most people don't know that, but they were originally designed as virtual reality combat simulation games to train super soldiers. They were to be combat simulators to train people in urban warfare, because you couldn't hold a real warfare game inside a city. Whereas the Soviet Union went the cheaper route and just built their own city. Now, I tell you, for a country that had 1/10 of the budget of US as a whole, not their defense budget, their entire national budget was 1/10 of the US, yet they could keep up for 5 years. That was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
But most of the time, the Soviet Union wasn't a threat during the Cold War, just its nuclear arsenal, which for the first couple of for almost a decade, both sides only had a small amount of nukes. Both sides lied. Russia bragged they had 125 missiles, so the US built 125 missiles at great expense, to only find out Russia had 125 missile sites and only 5 of them had missiles.
Oh, yeah.
Russia had huge problems for a long time, but they kept at it. they landed drones on the moon, and then found the expense of making rocket fuel was just too much for them. So they turned to satellites. They actually tried to start the commercialization of space, but NASA went from being 9 years behind to well ahead, thanks to Americans' good old know-how. And, of course, America's favorite way of getting ahead. If you can't win fairly, buy victory.
I went down.
Ooh.
That's the people in the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of defectors from Russia, particularly rocket scientists, they got offered big money. Oh, yeah, they weren't ideologically against the Soviet Union. they just... We have the bearded wonder in the background. You're going to let bearded wonder in, or?
Yeah.
Just pause the game, yeah. Yeah, that's
he's not in the background.
No, he's not.
No.
He's gone again.
Oh.
He said hi. It's not in the comments. He was in the private chat, so he had to. And we've got Appalachian in the audience. G'day, Appalachian.
Oh, that person stole my kill.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I saw in the private chat that there was somebody saying, hey, I thought, oh, you let this guy in. But no, he disappeared. So let's see what's going on. Are you only live on Facebook, or are you also live on...
I'm on live on YouTube, too.
All right. But it'd have to be on Facebook for it'd have to come in through the link to be in private chat.
Yeah.
I'm just checking the comments, and nope, it's not on Facebook. Might be Mr. Wicks.
10 seconds to rocket launcher.
Sure.
Ah, well.
Rocket launcher ready.
If he's not in the rear waiting room, he'll be back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, as you can see, this is light years ahead of the original virtual reality.
Oh, yeah.
But also virtual reality, the Oculus sets. Look how long it took to build a Oculus set that didn't have a epileptic inducing frame rate.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't understand. Just because you throw money at research doesn't mean that you research something that works.
Yeah.
Snipers up.
They have started now. Have you ever heard of HoloLens? It's not part of this game, but it's
HoloLens. No.
It's Google made it. And it's not virtual reality. It just advances your reality. Like,
I've heard of it. Yes, I've heard of altered reality.
Yeah, altered reality.
Yeah, I've heard of altered reality where you overlay stuff. Yeah, it's features in sci-fi. I actually started putting the idea of myself into my novel. Working on book 3 because that is definitely technology based on the head-up designs of that you find in.
Rocket launchers on the
Hey.
field.
Well, I'm not sure if it was first in the F-15 Eagle E or the Apache gunship, but it was definitely designed in the 60s, realized in the 80s, like a lot of 80s was a boom period for technology. Really was. PC stopped being just a business toy. For accountants to type away at all the time, and record.
Oh yeah.
Gaming technology, you saw graphics cards accelerate in technology until in the 90s. It took them a decade though to pass the technology used in consoles, but that wasn't so much. It was because PCs have a totally different architecture not found in other computers until recently, and that is open architecture, where you could take different cards and plug and play with your computer. Take something out, put something new in. I'll basically be able to upgrade your computer, except for your CPU. Although the original S100 design only was a bus and actually had the CPU on a card and was upgradable. Yeah. Bearded's back.
Oh, let's see here. Hey.
What's up, man? What are y'all doing?
You were wondering who it was? Yeah. G'day. Well, as you can see, Halo.
I'm on my personal account. Like I'm not hooked in with the show, so I won't take the stream like Tommy did.
No, I saw you before. Tommy went to.
I'm not gonna be on long. I was listening to Tommy's intro. Not bad for this is the game stream, or this is the games room.
Oh, did I say games room?
You were like, hey, welcome to the games room. I was like, all right.
Hey, I can use. I didn't have my coffee yet.
Oh yeah, okay. I like the excuse.
Yeah,
for real. It's 8:30. What have you been doing?
His brain's not fully functional yet. Give him time.
It's 8:30. What do you need coffee for? It's almost lunch.
That is lunch.
Right. David's like dinner time already.
Had my dinner. It's coffee time again.
I have a cup of coffee before I start the stream. Then I have.
Oh yeah, mine's during.
Yeah, but see, you're firing on all cylinders, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I do, man. I'm an early riser. I'm up every morning at 5 o'clock, even when I'm like off.
Even when you wake up at 3 a.m. to give us an update. Oh.
Tommy's Little Miss Chris, so he has to get his beauty fixed.
I can get my beauty rest.
I just did that.
Yeah.
Oh,
how do you think his beard grows? Sleep.
What?
My beard grows in my sleep.
He's Rip Van Winkle.
A likely story. All right, I'm getting off here. I just want to say hey.
All right,
hey.
You're ready.
Good luck on your trip.
Yeah, we're I don't know. Shoot, I don't know where we're at. We're about 40 miles out. I lost track of paying attention to the stream and everything. So, but we're in Tennessee.
This is much more fun than a campaign game.
I'm getting whooped.
No, I don't want to miss out on my beard streak. So I've got to make a small appearance on everything, so that way I can,
Well, my beard's slowly growing, so.
Anyway, all right, I'll let y'all go. Have fun, all right?
All right, man.
All right, bye.
10 seconds.
I shave more with a beard than not having a beard. You bloody always constantly trimming it.
Sniper rifles on the field.
Reversal.
Boom. Ah.
Game over. Defeat.
Yeah, no wonder, because they're like really precision with those grenades.
Oh yeah.
That was a good team you fought against. They've probably
See,
done it a lot.
Oh yeah. Well, usually what game I play is SWAT. I don't know if you played it before.
I played way back in the 90s the SWAT police. I think it was Sierra. It was very, very chunky back then, very slow.
Ooh. Well, see, this is basically a headshot kills
Yeah,
like instantly, and then it takes like 5 body shots to kill the person. So it makes the game more realistic.
except it takes only 2 to 3 bullets to the chest in reality, unless they got body armor. But that, yeah.
It also depends on what caliber.
Well, we're talking about SWAT, not 5.56 bee stings. Because remember, the 5.56 was designed as a wounding weapon, not as a killing weapon. It was made to fight the Soviet doctrine.
Oh yeah. See, down here, like in the country, people will put birdshot in their shotgun and then buckshot at the like 2 bird shots and then a buckshot. The birdshot's just a warning, just to pepper you up. Then if you're on something to where you can't feel that, then you're gonna meet the Lord, because then buckshot comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Birdshot, but even birdshot, well placed, definitely very more effective than a small caliber pistol.
Oh yeah.
Because we're talking range here, not small caliber pistol may kill somebody, but at a longer range, definitely useless piece of shit. Most people just aren't. Most people do not have the skill for aiming past a couple of paces, let alone 30 meters, which is the average, what they call the average combat range. Well, most people, right, don't understand. The modern battlefield, maybe with scopes, you're fighting at 100 to 100 meters plus. But you're not recognizing anybody or anything. You're just firing at what you hope is a target.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing that gets me is when people play like the Call of Duty and stuff, they think, yeah, this is exactly what it feels like. And I'm thinking to myself, no, because if you get shot, you don't feel it and you're going to respond.
Yeah, you don't have the shit your pants moment when the bullet digs in and says, "G'day" to your vital organs.
But they do have a suit you can wear that links to your game system. Yeah. And you can slightly feel, like if they shoot you in the shoulder piece will kind of shake a little bit.
Yeah, you can blame myself moments for it, because we put back in the 90s, we used to push every game company for force feedback suits. If you're going to give us a force feedback joystick, give us a force feedback suit.
Yeah.
Then when they came out, we said, no, we don't want them anymore. We don't even like force feedback joysticks because they keep breaking.
Yeah. Now, did you ever watch Ready Player One?
You mean which version? Because I don't know if they're different, but I've seen the director's cut from the DVD, not the theatrical shorter version.
I might have watched the shorter version.
Well, it's got all the scenes in it. Yeah, it was a good one. At least the director's cut has all the scenes in it. They're just a bit longer, and it makes more sense. Yeah.
We're gonna try Warzone. Maybe I can find somebody on there. No one's on SWAT right now for some reason. So I'll try Warzone. Basically, you just fight for territories.
Yeah.
if you get all three bases, you can destroy their main base, and then you win.
Yeah. But one of the reasons why we do not have laser weapons is because over time, and there are laser weapons,
Oh yeah.
but one of the reasons we don't have it was actually during the Cold War era when the Soviet Union realized they could not keep up with America's technological advantages. They decided to find ways to overcome them.
Yeah.
And they actually found that they could overcome laser weapons with reflective surfaces and smoke. Which is why your average T-80 for a long time was battlefield dominant, because it had smoke, which means you couldn't laser precise the bastard. And as you know, a heat, unless it's dead on target, just explodes on the surface of the tank, warping the surface. And most heat grenades were used to disable a tank by hitting the tracks rather than trying to hit the turret, which would often have, or the front body, which would often have counter explosives embedded into the compound armor.
Oh,
So
yeah.
And tank warfare, I mean, for 2 years, the Russian Armada was a fantastic tank. But what happened? Well, obviously, as soon as the algorithm was overcome for shooting down a missile by a British missile called the Bullpup, a programmable missile that did not fly in a straight line to its target. Ironically, based on a anti-ship missile the Russians built 10 years earlier, nicknamed the Kangaroo, which they stopped making because they're too expensive. And that is where the ship missile would skim low and then wind up and come down over the top in the blind spot of the because most ships only have one anti-missile Vulcan. So if you could pretty much get it to waste its ammunition, the ship was vulnerable. And they found that out during the Falklands, the vulnerabilities of ships to anti-ship missiles.
Yeah, see, I'm so surprised that they didn't have the body armor is not what you would think it would be. Like 20 years ago, people thought that they'd be wearing like Halo armor. Like they would look like robots going through it.
One reason we're not is the US found the cost. Basically, the Super Soldier program in the early 2000s was killed because of the cost. The cost of body armor to the kill ratio. All it did was basically it could be defeated by just increasing the caliber of the enemy's weapons, which was far cheaper than body armor versus body armor.
Yeah. Plus, but at the same time, they're not going to tell you exactly what's in the military.
No, but they are sitting on Halo style body armor, but they're not deploying it because, again, it would escalate the arms race. And like I said, the enemy would just escalate its battlefield weapons. Yeah, the caliber. And defeat the current body armor. And that would just mean more and more. I mean, right now, that's why we've got ceramic plate body armor. It's because it can sometimes, not always, and after a couple of shots, it's useless.
It really is.
But there are microfibers that are strong as steel. That's shit's been revealed. They made a few mistakes a few times in these, while bragging about various developments they have let loose that there are microfibers that can stop a 7.62. And the US does have a Mach 45, which you think is a 45 caliber, but it's not. It's an 11 millimeter automatic, semi-automatic assault rifle, which could tear through most body armor. Again, the military do not deploy the MAC 45 because, one, it's a $7,000 rifle. Two, there's no need because there's nobody out there with body armor to fight against. But they have developed, I'm not sure if it was Sword or Paladin Arms, but it's a boutique weapon that was developed for DARPA to overcome any body armor. And the Russians, they had a pistol that can penetrate most body armor, a 13 millimeter Kalashnikov pistol. It's a pistol by Kalashnikov. It's one of the few pistols they ever made. Although I don't think it's made by, I think it's actually made under license by Makarov, a separate company.
Oh, wow.
But the Soviet Union, when they dissolved, a lot of these companies became semi-state, not owned by the state, but the only customers they have is the state, you know? And the state actually tends to favor the 7.62 handgun, which is actually a knockoff of the Nazi Walther PKK, even though Walther is not a Nazi company now, was liberated, but during World War II, the Walther was a common handgun of the SS, and a lot of them ended up in the hands of the Soviet Union, and they retooled them as 7.62s from 9mm. And that's the thing about caliber. The rifle bullets are actually bigger in the cartridge. It's the cartridge that's bigger, but the caliber on the head is smaller. That's because it's got to go a longer distance. So you need to put more power into the bullet, which means the bullet has to be lighter. You understand you understand what's called resistance, right? Less resistance to the bullet, the longer it can go. That's why bullets in rifles are smaller calibers. So how could you have an 11mm how could you have an 11mm rifle?
10 kills to win.
Well, it was a railgun built in the 90s.
Well, you're seeing now with people having the technology they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
They're building rifles out of 3D printers and everything now.
Yeah, and eventually the military will be using what's called a coil gun. It's an electromagnetic gun. It uses coils instead of powder to accelerate the bullet.
Yeah,
and they can use an 11mm aerodynamic projectile that is actually semi-self-propelling. You know, it does contain a charge, so it gets accelerated, and it maintains its acceleration by using a slow-burning fuel. But again,
kind of like a potato gun.
Pretty much like a potato gun with the projectile self-propelling as well. So it accelerates it, but it gets the rest of its velocity by burning off like a rocket gun.
Oh, wow.
But again, like I said, it's pretty expensive stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But on the plus side, the bullet can actually curve and change directory, which is why the Navy loves it, because they can fire at 190 miles and it can zigzag its way to target. Doesn't 190 miles. Could you imagine the Missouri with 190-mile range on its main gun?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, China build an aircraft. Go ahead, China build an aircraft carrier.
Now, do you know what add-ons are for games?
Yeah.
Microtransaction kind of deal?
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants...
Slayer.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say my generation didn't have that shit. I get it, but I gamed a lot in the 90s, and we started to get that, of course, with Battlefront 2, right?
Yeah.
So I do
Well,
know all about it.
they have it in this game too, unfortunately. But they make it
Yeah.
to where you don't have to get it to have good armor.
No,
But they
I know Halo and some games they fixed it, but Battlefront 2 is still pay to win.
yeah.
A lot of games
I don't
are.
think exclusive. That's why I like Halo, is because everybody has the same gun, so that part's equal. It's basically skill then.
Yeah.
But when
But if you want to progress faster, you can buy it.
yeah,
But it's not exclusive to pay to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
One of the few rare
basically
games.
the microtransactions in Halo are for looks. It's not for function.
Just like
You
Fortnite.
can't buy the guns.
Yeah.
Or speed boost or anything like that. You just it's just for like new helmets.
Lost the lead.
Basically, like the guy you just heard, you can change his voice to someone else in the game.
Yeah. We used to have that in some games, like Guild Wars started that way, but it eventually became pay to win, and then they stopped developing new areas for it, and they came out with Guild Wars 2. And after a while, that game sucked. It just got boring. Every mission was the same. And again, like Guild Wars, you couldn't find enough teammates for half the missions. Because the only missions people wanted to do was Dragon Raids, because the game was play to win. Why would you want to do any other raid but the big one where you might get something good? And yeah, why would you do crappy raids for stuff you could buy in store,
Oh yeah.
Just milk.
But the thing is people, they want it gone, but they're buying the stuff still.
Oh yeah.
But PlayStation made over $2 billion off a microtransaction. Do you really think they're going to get rid of it?
Look, people scream about Battlefront and pay to win, yet there are people in Korea paying $100 a month to basically cream everybody in this game. It's the poor people who can't afford it who are whining.
Yeah,
I get it. You want a free game. That's pretty much it,
Yeah.
But half these whiners are ideologues who've never played the game. You can tell them by their YouTube channel. They've got nothing on there but whining about transactions, this, transaction, that. They've got no play, they've got no game on their channel whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I can understand it for games like Fortnite that were given for free. Like, you don't pay nothing to play it.
Yeah.
But, like, games that you spend, like, $60 on, everything should come with the game without...
Killing spree.
Yeah.
Yeah, without...
I agree. Pay to win should not be in a commercial game. But in a commerce game, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
It's a commerce game. You're getting it for nothing. Get your jollies on the low level. Get your kill jollies on the low level. Besides, I've played play to win games, and you're not going to get enough people every time to do all the cool missions, because people only want to do the big missions.
Yeah.
And they tried to solve Guild Wars by allowing you to buy NPCs, but the problem is most of the NPCs suck, and the IA sucked even worse. It's really bad when the game puts in an AI and the AI sucks balls.
Oh, yeah. Halo's actually done really good with their AI.
Oh, yeah. They fix the problem is most games don't fix, but this is why Halo's popular. They fix it. They don't go on their own YouTube channel and say, we're working on it. They say, we'll get back to you when we've fixed it. There's a slight difference in the statement, but you know how one feels artificial and the other one says, oh, they are doing something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, see, like this one, it'll actually catch your grenades and then throw them back at you. The artificial will. And I was like, for that to do that, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's not
But-
just like hiding behind a
10
corner
kills to win.
waiting.
Wolfenstein had no AI whatsoever. And I mean, sure, it started off as a 90s game, but so did Halo.
Mm-hmm.
So did Halo.
Halo was actually, they have a game called Strike Force, or Spartan Force or something like that. And
Spartan
it's the
Force.
way the game was supposed to be made. And it's where you're seeing it from third person, like up above. And you just come, it's kind of like Halo Wars kind of graphics.
So a little downgraded from this.
Yes, and you wasn't a first-person shooter. You basically told the troops where to go, and it was a strategy game. But then,
Yep.
and then Microsoft bought it and said, "I want basically a Doom game. I want to be like Doom."
Because Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein were dominating the market at the time.
Yep.
And they were competing against each other. And Microsoft wanted that sweet, sweet cash.
Victory.
Now, you may not realize it, but there was a time Microsoft was almost broke in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
The
And then
development
they made Destiny.
Yeah, the development of the Xbox and all the game companies they bought out almost sent them broke. They were buying their competition, but they achieved market dominance and bounced back. Thanks to the look and feel lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
Your game looks like our game. Well, it actually started with your word processor looks like our word processor. Your your spreadsheet looks like Lotus 123, and we just bought them out. So we're going to sue you, even though we didn't make it. We own the rights.
Oh yeah.
Oh, your operating system looks like ours, and but we licensed. You licensed the compatibility, not the look and feel. Thanks for playing. We're shutting you down. And they sent a lot of companies broke. Made a lot of enemies, but in the end, they won. People may have hated them, but in the end, people realized one thing. And unfortunately, I think it's given rise to the attitude in society. The attitude with PCs, they have to be compatible, right, in order to maximize the market.
Oh yeah.
That's the lowest common denominator. Everybody has to be the same. Everything has to be a McDonald's menu. Nobody likes it, but it doesn't. It pleases, but it doesn't favor anybody.
Yeah. Well, see, I watched my kid play. He plays Fortnite. I can't play Fortnite.
No,
can't.
my son can't play it now because they banned it off his iPad. But if he was here, like, he'd be bouncing around. He would spin and shoot. He could do all sorts of stuff. That game is amazing. But it was it was basically made for people with 0.2 second reflexes.
Well, see, and that's what I was telling him. I was like, adult video games
going to be that fast. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to play them because we're going to be too slow and get aggravated with it. They're making games for the new generation now, and they're a little bit faster when it comes to the games.
Double kill.
Yeah, but what's happening though? The post-millennials, as they're getting into their 30s, they're freaking out because everything's too fast for them.
Yep.
They're freaking out because all the stuff they used to be able to play. What was the first? What was it? Halo 3.
Yeah.
That was a millennial game, right?
Oh yeah.
It was one of the first millennial games. Now they can't even play Halo.
Oh yeah.
They can't play the Reborn games, which were much slower. They were made for slower computers.
Double kill.
And they have Pacific speed. They're built for Pacific speed. This is faster than Doom was.
Oh yeah.
And there are post-millennials who can't play Doom or Quake. They freak out. They get lost.
Well, see, my brother, he was never into gaming, and I got him on one of these games before, and he couldn't get the concept of looking around and walking at the same time.
Millennials don't realize they're not going to be millennials when they hit 30. They become what's called the post-millennial. Yeah, you were a millennial, but you're not anymore. You're old. No, because you know what? They're aging so fast, though. It's because they're burning out. They push everything to the max.
Yep.
And they hit that 35-year-old, they hit that barrier that comes in between your 30s and 40s. The first noticeable degeneration of the human body. But they're not getting at that. They're not getting the slight failure. They're like got bodies of 50-year-olds. They're going from 18 to 50 in 10 years because they push everything to the max. They do 6 hours sleep. They do 3 hours a night of gaming. This is averages. Not all millennials are going to go through that burnout because they don't all 6 hours sleep and game 3 hours and do extreme sports on the weekend. But those who do are burning themselves out at an unprecedented rate where they are now going to be outlived by their children. Those who choose to have children are going to be outlived by their own children. I mean, that's normal, except the fact that the age difference,
Nearing victory.
which is weird, like,
Oh, yeah.
they're in their 30s, they're aging to their 50s, and their children aren't going to be fully grown adults when they die and we're starting to see it already, millennials have a higher death rate in their 40s than they do the Generation X, who Generation X started the extreme sports, but imagine being outlived by Gen Y,
Yeah.
That's scary.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's natural to be outlived by your children, except when the age, but not by 20 to 50, 30 years, it's normally, 20 to 30 years, not outlived by your kids by 40 years.
Game over.
But it's the millennials is a bad name. It should be the adrenaline junkie generation.
Yeah.
Whereas Gen X and Gen Y, their death sentence comes from the highest death sentence is drugs, although they say cardiovascular failure, they don't say overdose. Isn't it amazing how many people who overdose? It's heart disease. Why? Because we want to blame big tobacco. We want to pad the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Because, there's that big tobacco medical fund, right? If we can link this death to tobacco, we can get money for off the tobacco fund.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same with COVID. I bet you Ruth Bader Ginsburg died of COVID. Show us the death certificate. Did you put COVID
Probably
on it? It'll be on the COVID.
I just don't understand it one bit. But my whole thing is they want to move as fast as possible. The kids now generation, like trying to teach them to build something is extremely hard.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. And see, I'm not bragging or nothing, but when I was a kid, I wasn't scared of nothing. Everything, I was just a curious kid. You don't see that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember being fearless up until a point where I knew something was dangerous. I wouldn't try it.
Gain the lead.
But by dangerous, I mean, yeah, I would swing from a tree. I would climb to the top of a tree. But if the tree started to shake and bend or creak, I knew it was reaching the weight limit,
Oh, yeah.
But I would find the limit, but never push past it. Where Gen X and Gen Y, they started to push past limits, and they got. I mean, look at Jackass, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the kids today have got no survival instinct.
Reversal.
They really don't. They actually kind of scare me when it comes to stuff like that. And it's only going to get worse because now their immune system's going to be way down.
Yeah, I can't. That's what me and my doctor had a discussion, and he said he's got patients who are now anemic.
Mm.
And they can't convince the government to stop the Doctors Association twice have tried to get the government to lift the restrictions. They got most of them lifted, and people's health started to improve. Because people realize COVID isn't as deadly as it's claimed to be.
Yeah, and it's what's it called? It's actually causing more harm than
Most
good.
of the deaths are in people who have conditions that are killing them.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was a good tactic, waiting for you to go up and then come up behind you on the same and shoot you in the back.
Oh yeah. See, I like SWAT though because it's fast paced. So you're not sitting there for like 10 minutes shooting them with the same gun.
Double kill.
There he is. He tried to come up under you, didn't he?
Yeah.
You were ready for it that time? Yeah, you want to come up under me again? No. My son does that. He used to play Robot Wars. I don't know if you have it on Xbox, but it's pretty much an advanced version of MechWarrior on a battle, and it's PvP only by the looks of it. And he just walks around the battlefield, just suddenly zooms up, spins around, bang, 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 because he's watching the map. He's watching. I mean, his reflexes are great, but the thing is, he's 10 years old, and that's what they're doing with Gen X's and the millennials. It's the same thing. Gen X's, they started on games that were fast paced, but the shoot 'em up games. Have you ever seen the old arcade shoot 'em up games?
Oh yeah.
They were so fast, Not like they weren't like they're faster than these games are now because they're on a pure dedicated machine and they're running virtually no graphics.
Oh yeah.
48 sprites. That was it. You got 64 sprite limit, and that most games only had 48 at most. Or some had 20, just to fit within the alphabet. 20 sprites were 26 were those 40 sprites were the alphabet, so there weren't that many graphics. And they were small. And if you're on a dedicated machine, even though it was only 10 kilohertz, it wasn't very fast, But you're only on a 300 by 200 screen too, so there's not a lot of data. But they were smooth, they were fast. But the kids who played them, but by the time they're 18, you think they were been on meth all their life or smoking dope because they're just so they're so switched on, but at the same time they're moving at such a slow pace because their brains are fried.
Win.
People were actually dying.
Victory.
Mm-hmm.
In the early 90s, these games, people were actually dying because they're getting brain aneurysms.
Oh yeah.
Because they're chasing that adrenaline rush, and they have to play the game longer and longer and longer and longer, and they were getting up to 2-3 days and just dropping dead because they were getting high off the game.
Well, there was a kid I heard a story about. He did a study for school, and he see how long he could stay awake. And he actually died because when you sleep, something in your brain happens to basically cleanse your brain.
Yeah, when you go to your brain, while you're awake, your brain's accumulating chemicals, and when you
Yeah.
go to sleep, it's like flushing the dunny. And that's what happens with Alzheimer's. You stop flushing the dunny.
Yeah, and he got to where I think it was like 3 to 4 days he was up, and he actually died because his brain forgot how to breathe. So he
Yeah,
suffocated.
yeah. Those toxic chemicals are the byproduct. See, that's why you can't transfer a human consciousness, because half our brain is chemical and the other half is
Yep.
electrical. And without the chemical component of long-term storage, your brain is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happens when you die. All these chemicals flood through your system. Your brain's no longer able to flush the crap out of your body.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things particularly during the 50s, was how to get a soldier to last longer on the battlefield because of burnout. And that's where meth was created. And how do we counter meth? Marijuana. No, they were the drug. America's drug problem was created by the Truman government.
Lost the lead.
I think now it's been. Some people say it's been.
It's cultural. It's now so cultural. Yeah. You talk about a problem so long that it becomes part of the zeitgeist. The only way to cure the drug problem now is to basically like China did, kill all the drug dealers and lock everybody else up until they're clean.
Well, I mean, they're trying to make it. I don't know if like they're trying to destroy the U.S. or what, but they're trying to make it to like people that are on drugs and stuff like that. That's just a sickness, and it's not.
It is to screw the areas, because whoever controls the population pretty much controls the country, owns everything.
Yeah.
These rich dilettantes, they're just so bored. They've got no horizons for them. Which
I've noticed. I'm noticing the culture now, that a villain's not a villain. He just has a different point of view, is what they're trying to put out there. Like, there's no such thing as bad people. I was like, yeah, there's such thing as bad people.
Says the bad people.
Yeah.
That's what people. That's why what we have, right? Imagine the extreme right and the extreme left. Okay? They're 60% of the population.
Yep.
They're 30-30, right? The largest group on its own are the moderates. They're 40% of the population. That's why there's always this swing vote, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the problem is the moderates are getting more and more polarized over their own selfish interests. And that's why the left had slowly creeped up to the point where they control government even when they lose the election.
Oh, yeah.
And the moderates are waking up to this, though, and saying, no, we voted for these policies. At first, it was, let's blame George Herbert Walker Bush for not putting up the taxes. We'll vote for Clinton because he's promising difference. He's promising to fix all that. But then they got betrayed. But then they voted Bush in. And again, they thought, oh no, Bush is going to war in Iraq. He's betrayed us again. But again, people don't realize.
Gain the lead.
If people paid attention, they'd realize that Biden and Hillary was the one who campaigned for a year to go and war in Iraq using false information given by Saddam Hussein's enemies.
Oh, yeah.
And Obama comes in and he releases a report, and it just took 2 to 4 years to sink in. But people said, wait a minute, Iraq did have weapons of mass destruction, according to Obama? What's going on here? And then Trump comes along and says, I've been telling you all this time. And Trump's had a consistent message, which is why he got in.
Yep.
Wasn't the rebellion vote? I call it the political isolated vote. We,
But
the politically isolated, who aren't represented by the left wing or the right wing fanatics. Now, if the Republicans want to win elections, they have to accept the moderates. Because the moderates outnumber the right.
oh yeah.
And
But-
if the libertarians ever got their act together, they would destroy either the Democrat Party or the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Now, if the Republicans want to stay in business, they have to accept the libertarians.
But what people don't realize is the power's supposed to be in the government, like making the rules and stuff. People don't realize that if you want to rule the world, just own all the news places.
This is exactly why we say there is a conspiracy, because a certain cabal does own news, controls university, controls the Supreme Court, does control the media, does control all the banks, and is funding political parties. Now, if Dinesh D'Souza can go to jail for over a $20,000 donation, why isn't George Soros in jail for the rest of his life and RICO'd over spending $100 million on ads for the DNC?
Yep.
Why is Dinesh D'Souza in jail for expressing his political views, but not George Soros? Even though technically Soros says, it's unconstitutional to jail somebody for their politics. Really? You did it to Dinesh.
Oh yeah.
And it's the same they're going on about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. No, the precedent was set. And the rules were agreed upon. But then Obama turned around and says, no, I am going to appoint a Supreme Court judge during an election year. Okay, Game over. Do unto others. We can appoint a judge now.
Reversal. Brawler. Double kill.
And if you look up the confirmations for Supreme Court judges, until Obama, there was virtually no questions asked of a judge.
Oh yeah.
But that was because they were confident of all the rhinos appointing weak judges, which they did.
Distraction.
Until Bush. They had them panicked. And then Clinton got in and they thought they were in the bag. But then we got another Bush and they started to panic again. And then Roberts turned out to be a rhino. And then they thought, we've got this in the bag.
Yeah.
But then came Trump and says, ha-ha! And then now they're going, wait a minute, Kavanaugh isn't a rhino. We haven't forced him into submission like we did with Roberts. Now we need.
You there?
The left keep hiding behind freedom of expression.
Yeah.
But it's not freedom of expression. It's domestic terrorism.
Oh yeah.
You're threatening people. You're hounding them at all hours at their night, day and night, going to private homes to protest. That is not a protest. That is terrorism. Political intimidation.
Gun. Distraction.
Now, what they're hoping with this is to constantly provoke the right into a violent reaction. That's why they always talk about, the right's so violent, the right this, the right that, because they're trying to plant the idea the only cure to left-wing violence is more violence. No, that's why I say stuff like deport them all. It's de-escalation.
Oh yeah.
It's getting in the people's mind that there are alternatives to matching violence with violence, which we've seen with Bikers for Trump.
Well, there's two things I think they're wanting to do. They're wanting to depopulate
Yep.
And they're wanting to basically be like
Game
basically
over.
a third world where they want it to be
They want to
where
they want to mesh humanity into one mob Morpheus group which they can control.
yeah, basically a third world country.
Yeah. Destroying the white population of the world is just their first agenda, first line in their total, what they call the total control, world domination. The 1814 plan or the 1812 plan, I forget which, but it was born out of the American Revolution. Not all the American revolutionaries were, were pro-gun and pro-freedom. Unfortunately, Franklin, he was recruited. He was a Scottish rebel, anti-British. He was brought over to foment rebellion in America.
But see, now it's
They're our heroes.
the only thing really standing in the way of them basically getting or what they want is patriotism of the country. People,
Yes.
it's the only thing that's we got going for us is if you're patriot.
And it's okay to be white.
Yeah.
Which in some areas will get you killed, but
yeah,
that's the problem. White people aren't the real racists. They never were. They isolated themselves in the South because they were sick and tired of the racists.
Slayer.
yeah.
They're sick and tired of being hounded over slavery. We didn't enslave you. Go away.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna go by that ground, you gotta look at the Irish. The Irish were enslaved too.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just one race that was enslaved. Everybody,
And then they said, "Oh, you didn't have it so bad." Really? Imagine an entire generation of your females put into whorehouses, and where they lived and died as sex slaves.
Yeah.
With the average only lasting 3 years, and the most common cause of death was suicide. Yeah, your people survived slavery in the West. You didn't survive slavery in the Middle East. The Middle East, when slavery was coming to an end, they put the slaves to mass graves.
Oh, shoot. Double kill.
Now, in Australia,
yeah.
Have you been to the U.S. yet?
No, I haven't.
Gain the lead.
Oh. Because when I picture Australia, I think it's a desert and it's always hot. Is it like that, or does it get cold?
Actually, the weird part is the desert. The desert is more cold than hot. Because it's cold during the night and it's cold during the winter.
Oh.
Desert is not defined by its temperature, but by its rainfall. Or the lack thereof.
Yeah, because ain't like the Arctic or something considered a desert because if it doesn't get enough rain?
Yeah, there are the Arctic is considered desert because on a 10-year average, it doesn't receive enough rainfall to be considered average. There's an average rainfall around the world, and if you're 20% below it or whatever, below so many millimeters a year of rain, you're a desert. Now, the Antarctic is not a desert because it receives constant, there are areas of constant snowfalls. Now, we keep saying this to people. Okay, so the ice melted. Then what? Did the sea levels rise? Yes, the sea levels rose. Really? Why is Obama's beach house not underwater then? And then you ask them, do you know what happens when the ice doesn't melt? That's right. We get the ice age. Yeah, I would rather have ice melt and have the sea level raise 6 meters than have the ice 1 kilometer thick over the entire planet.
Oh, yeah.
But, a third of the planet covered in ice. No, thank you. I don't want my daily average temperature to be balls frozen.
Oh god, this guy's good.
I'm trying to get rid of them people talking, but
The
it
thing
won't
is,
let me.
that guy, he knows the map. He's probably played it so many times he wakes up and he dreams it in his sleep.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I'm not really familiar with the maps on Halo 5, but Halo 3,
Yeah.
because it was during my generation, I could name, like, we actually had code names for where we were at and everything like that. And I was,
And you
we
actually
were
had more
amazing at it.
distinct. Yeah, the maps were also more distinct, so you can actually say Alpha
Yeah.
4 and somebody would know that building.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You just had to be careful though, because like a lot of people didn't use code words, but yeah, they knew on the map A4. Yeah.
Oh
A
yeah.
is the first block, A, B, C, D, E, F, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it was an 8x8 grid on the map, wasn't it, or something like that?
it's
Been
hard.
It was a what?
The overhead map. You could
Yeah.
grid it.
Oh yeah. Well, you could grid it, but not only that, the maps back in, like, you had like a red base and a blue base. It was always red versus blue, but
And
it
you-
was more, they were symmetrical. Like, they were identical if you looked at it, a map from side to side. Now they got maps where it's not symmetrical.
Plus, you could
So-
on top of it, you could spawn in the middle of the red if you're a blue, and vice
Yep.
versa. It's
And that's
more
what
random.
they call spawn kill, is when you,
Dropping from the sky and you're full of bullets by the time you hit the ground.
yep.
Yeah, I've seen that. My son does that. He shoots somebody, then races to the nearest spawn point and shoots them again for a double kill. And I'm
Oh,
going,
yeah.
and I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
my son beat a whole bunch of people in Fortnite, 38 out of 50, which apparently is pretty good kill. But they've banned the game on Apple because Epic won't use Apple Pay for microtransactions.
Yep. Because then Apple gets a percentage of it.
Not just a percentage, they get most of it.
Yeah, it's like 70-30.
PayPal. Yeah, it's like PayPal. You know, oh, we'll sell a 99-cent we'll sell a 99-cent item, and when you get 9 cents, because the transaction fee starts at, because it's a transaction fee and a percentage.
Yep.
It's the same with Apple. Apple Music, buy a song for 99 cents. Yeah, 5 cents goes to the artist. Oh, but that's 1 cent more than Sony pays. Oh, wow. Yeah, but Sony, it's like, wow. You're so generous, Apple.
Oh, yeah.
Again, that's why I don't like monopolies.
Well, it's just like the Apple iPhone, the new one. It's over $1,000.
Yes, I know, and it's like my son has got an Apple II, and it's going to be unable to update in 2 years, and it's like,
Yep.
Who's paying $1,000 for something that's only got a lifespan of 2 years? My notebook, it still runs, and it's nearly 5 years old. I can't afford to replace it.
Well, and that's the thing I don't like is the programs they use. They
Which was written by Microsoft.
they basically update every like month or so. So by the time the new generation of console comes out, you have to get it because your console is slower than anything.
Yes.
Because they ran out of ideas to make them better, so they just make the old ones slower.
Actually, they already ran out of ideas 20 years ago when they stole the idea of a tablet from Samsung, who got the idea from the Gene Roddenberry Foundation for turning when Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek, they had no idea how many original ideas they actually had. And when they did, they created a foundation to get this technology made into reality. Now, back when Steve Jobs was a nobody, believed to be a technician working for a government agency, he got financial sponsorship from DARPA to take over some NSA projects, including the Laser, which was created by Xerox. the government didn't somehow, or for some reason, like Xerox, having a computer more advanced than IBM. So they took
Yeah.
it off Xerox and gave it to Apple, which is why Apple went from a dinky backroom, computer built with instructions from a 1974. You can look some of this shit up. Some of it still exists online. That Wozniak and Steve Jobs built a PC using this instead of using the Intel chip, they used the Motorola chip, and they used
Yeah.
instructions they got from a Japanese firm through a ad in what's that? It's one of the engineering mags, Popular Mechanics.
Yeah.
They actually didn't create the Apple. They learned how to make an Apple. But of course, tomato, especially American pride.
Oh yeah.
But
Speed of
the
victory.
government built Apple into a billion-dollar company using the K-12 education program.
Yep. Well, they've done this before too. With did you ever watch when you were growing up Big Bird?
Yeah.
You know, it was actually funded by the government, like the whole
Yes,
show.
I know.
And it's like,
After I think about, I remember the show, and I remember getting so bored with that show that I used to go outside when it came on.
yeah,
They used to play it in schools. It was that bloody indoctrination. It was that throwing down people's throat. They used to have it in schools.
well, I mean, technically, it shouldn't be right for a show to get a government grant. Even
No.
even if it's educational, you're still making a profit already.
Not only that, it's non-competitive.
Yep.
They're giving $100 million to a show that's selling toys and basically not paying any money to the public network, which, by the way, there is now needing something like $100 million to run.
Kills.
But
Win.
they've got to ask the public for donations when their main show is making more money than them.
Yeah.
Their main show, if they had to pay screen time, would fund public television.
Oh yeah.
But they declared themselves, but to avoid it, they declared themselves a non-profit, which is bullshit because they all get a wage.
Oh yeah.
And when Big Bird I remember when Big Bird was fired for being a lesbian. And then Bill Clinton vowed to bring back Big Bird. They didn't,
Yeah.
of course. That was just campaign promise, like everything else. And then Obama runs on saying, "Oh, they're trying to get rid of Big Bird." No, Big Bird should pay his bills. Big Bird's a big boy; he should pay his bills.
Oh yeah.
Anybody making money off PBS should pay PBS airtime, or at least a percentage.
Oh yeah.
But at least the company, at least the PR disaster of certain policies did force them to pay some money to PBS. I think it's like 30%. But that's still not enough. It's not even all their airtime.
Oh yeah.
They're only paying 30% of their direct revenue stream, not the toys, just the resale of their show, which they don't sell at a high price either. So there's not much revenue.
Oh yeah.
So they deliberately devalued their product in order not to get out of paying large sums to PBS. But I remember Alan Alda. He used to campaign for them all the time, and I think, God, he's a totally different person on MASH than he is in real life. In real life, he's a douche.
Oh yeah.
He brags about being a writer. I've never seen any of his works that are more than kindergarten scratchings. I hate the fact when they cheer actors as great writers.
Oh yeah.
No, Alan Alda and his writing team used to promote Apple. Oh, I use Apple Write all the time. Any writing forum you go to, they say Apple. No, they tell you how crappy Apple Write is.
Oh yeah.
Turns out he doesn't use Apple Write. He was using what's it, Open Office or something. He was using a freebie. Wasn't using a paid program. He was using a freebie. But the liberals are just phonies, But when you're younger, you really sometimes there are life lessons you don't learn until you're older, such as never believe an actor's endorsement.
Oh yeah.
And so-called influencers, yeah, because Oprah made her money
Yeah.
extorting companies, telling them they can't get advertising unless they go through her on the network.
Oh wow.
Or yeah, I'll promote your competition's product for free unless you give me 30% of all your sales. No, not your sales during promotional period for that 1 week you're on my show for that year.
Oh.
Look at all the stuff she's promoted. Harry Potter was nothing until she promoted it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's the problem. Influencers. And there are people who can fall. Unfortunately, too many people fall for that crap. Oh, the Oprah Book Club. Yeah, I could be in the Oprah Book Club too if I pay a 30 grand.
Yeah.
For one listing. And that's only one of 100 books. And there's no guarantees of sales. The only reason why people pay her is because the people in the top 10 do make money. Not all the time, but enough for her to get to basically say, yeah, I'm a billionaire, so she does make money. She does sell stuff, but mostly it's her. Mostly all her advertising that makes her the money. People paying 30 grand to be in a magazine once.
Oh, I like it when back in the maybe in the 90s or 80s, she actually had Trump on her show saying he should run for president.
Yeah.
And he said no. And he said the only reason why he ran this time is because of how bad Obama and them messed up the U.S.
He told Oprah that he'd only run if the country needed him. So he felt he'd make a bad president because he wasn't mainstream.
I mean, I don't understand.
He thought he'd lose.
Yeah.
So he tried. When they told him to run, he went with the Reform Party and lost. And fair enough, he didn't want to win.
Yeah.
But then they came to him and said, Donald, this is why we want you to run.
Yeah.
And the next day he registered as a Republican.
Oh yeah.
Now we don't know who met with him, but it was at least one of them was General Flynn. We know General Flynn met with him. He admitted that. And that guy Flynn, there's security clearances, then there's security clearances. There's the security clearances that you don't know about.
Yeah.
People like Flynn has. They start with black and they get darker. This type of security card that you need an ultraviolet light and an nanometer scanner to read. And then if you have one, they ask you, how did you get it?
Yeah.
Because the scanner for the security cards for the NSA are so sophisticated and classified that having one is a breach of national security. You need the president's permission to have one.
Oh yeah.
Just to have the ID scanner necessary to find out if they're really NSA or not. Remember, up until 96, NSA stood for no such agency. We don't exist. The National Security Agency, every time they took a building over, they'd take down every signage. It was Clinton who enforced disclosure that, Freedom of Information Act that revealed the existence of the National Security Agency. People don't know how good they've got it these days. People used to get arrested. People used to get arrested for filing a FOIA on the NSA. And then people would say, thank Ruth Bader Ginsburg for that. No. There should be some things that are secret.
Yeah.
The people defending a country are secret for a reason.
Oh yeah. Like, could you imagine if you knew everything that goes behind closed doors?
I don't want to eat the cow. I just want to meet the cow. I just want to know the cow is doing its job.
Oh yeah.
And I want to know if the cow abuses its power, it gets punished. I don't want to know their names. I don't want to know their operations, and I don't want to know how many boogeymen they put down. But Gerald Ford and that rhino, Gerald Ford, and what's the other piece of shit trader? Sold out Nixon.
Oh yeah.
Blamed Nixon for everything that went on behind the scenes, and it wasn't Nixon. It was his chief of staff abused power to no end.
Oh yeah.
His chief of staff was a Nazi, an infiltrator, right?
No, I didn't know that.
No. When Nixon was running, his chief of staff never told him that Martin Luther King had been arrested until his chief of staff got a phone call from Kennedy saying, "You can tell him now." Kennedy was a piece of shit. Don't think he was not a saint. Kennedy had 20,000 plus people killed under Operation MK Ultra.
Oh wow!
Yeah, look up Operation Phoenix, and the CIA whistleblower. He now runs a labor union. What a shock, eh? Oh.
Yeah. But see, like, the whole thing with Biden that makes me mad is, like, his son is working in China.
Yeah.
And how...
for China.
Yeah. That right there should automatically not make you eligible to be president.
But unfortunately, the founders never believed in hostile... They never believed anybody would be hostile to the United States other than England. And they believed England would go away very quickly after the American Revolution, so they never put in a hostile... The only, basically, you could commit... If you committed treason against a state, it had to be such a high level of, oh, you could work for anybody,
Yeah.
It's because they were pathetic people pleasers. They felt that they could spread the American Revolution around the world. And when they didn't, America became a very insulated country and isolated very quickly. European powers didn't want any trade with America because of slavery. Spain was trying to get out of the slavery business by the time the American Revolution had started, and America got into the slavery business.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, because, the Western powers don't want to deal with it, fine, we'll trade with African nations. And the African migrants were bringing over their slaves. And they said, yeah, no worries, bring them over. We'll let you keep them.
Yeah.
That's the truth about slavery, man. It was imported. The European powers didn't want anything to do with the United States because as the French said, you're naive. You know, nobody wants your revolution. We only helped you because we wanted to hurt England. Grow up.
Yeah.
We don't like you. We don't like you. And there's so many Francophiles in the Democrat Party, and they still don't get it. France likes nobody that isn't French. They don't even like Quebec. Quebec's starting to. What's really scary is because Quebec is starting to go. Is the number of socialists in Quebec is declining rapidly. I think having a French socialist as a prime minister is really starting to wake up to what a shit show it is.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What people don't understand, communism is a monoculture. Therefore, it does not encourage new ideas. Therefore, it actively suppresses new ideas. Because new ideas are anti-revolutionary. Welcome to the 6th century. But I really love how millennials go on and on and on about 1950s thinking. Really? When was socialism invented?
Yeah.
Karl Marx, 19th century. Well, that's modern socialism. But if you really want to go back to liberalism, 3,500 BC.
Mm-hmm.
You're a little. Yeah. Okay, so you're right, millennial. The concept of the republic is old. It dates
See,
back
this is
but it doesn't.
This is Halo's microtransactions.
Yeah.
But if you play good, you can get enough points to buy it without money. That's the only thing I do like.
Yes.
Like you get extra points.
I'm not sure we discussed this earlier online or pre-show, but this is definitely one of the pluses of Halo other games. Is the fact they listen to the players.
Oh yeah.
Now they still make a lot of money on microtransaction, and yeah, there are some companies like EA who says, "Why would we stop microtransactions? It's half our profit." It's like saying to the bank, slower interest rates on credit cards. They go, "Why? It's half our profit."
But see that I don't buy microtransactions. My only reason why towards it is because if I'm going to spend $60 on a game, that's all I'm spending on.
Yeah, same here. I helped a group get started at university, and they went their own way. But we were trying to get rid of this concept that was going around already back then, where you didn't own a game, you would license a game and you would pay to use it, pay to play.
Yeah.
Sure, the fee was small, but say if you played it for more than a month, it soon adds up, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, see,
but then WoW became so popular that it just got lost in the noise, and WoW became, 100 million people suddenly signed up for WoW. We didn't realize by protesting it, we made it popular. Protest can backfire big.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just like when people were talking about how McDonald's makes you fat and people started suing them, they actually got more popular.
Yeah. They built up a lot of free publicity from the lawsuits.
Oh yeah.
they use the publicity to advertise the company as we listen. You know, look at our menu. You know, and yeah,
Yeah.
there were. Now, again, it wasn't. There are things in society, even today, that shouldn't be a secret, like what's in KFC, or why is McDonald's so addictive, or why do people still get headaches months after? You know, you eat a Big Mac and then suddenly every day for the next month you're craving a Big Mac and you're getting headaches until you have one. Why is that? What's in the special sauce that's making us so fucked up?
Fascination.
Oh yeah.
And obviously they must know, otherwise they'd change the recipe. But McDonald's isn't making us fat with the food; it's the calories. It's going back to thirds that's making people fat.
Well, see, and the funny thing is they'll show the calories now. They have to,
Yeah,
but
But
they'll make it to where it's barely readable,
yeah.
and
But
it's in
also-
white letters so it don't stand out.
And they don't tell you how much you need. And yeah, even if there's a big meal and you only need, say you're on an 1800 calorie diet, right? Because everybody's different. You need to find out your own calorie diet. Say you're on an 1800 to 2000 calorie diet. You're pretty active, and you eat McDonald's once, and yet you feel like you had 2000 calories. Yet your body says, "No, I've only had 1000."
Top gun.
There's
Oh, yeah.
no. It's not well designed, and McDonald's knows it because they helped design it.
Distraction.
See, when I was,
Victory.
I'd say about 20, I could eat like two full-size pizzas, and not gain weight.
Yeah.
But I had to get my gallbladder removed, and I didn't do my research before I had to get it removed.
I had the same problem. I had a gallbladder, and I had a bile, the gallbladder infected, and the infection spread to my appendix, so I had to have them both taken out. And even though you can still eat meat, but it's going to make you tired if you eat too much, and have to space out your meals, so I have to eat smaller meals, and I find that very hard. The self-control is very hard.
Oh yeah. So you're raised on getting 3 meals. Like, I don't know how it is in Australia, but in the United States, it's 3 meals, and your biggest is your dinner.
Yeah.
When it should be your breakfast.
10 kills.
Yeah. I had a Vietnamese wife, and she tried to get me onto eating a big meal for breakfast, and unfortunately, I was just so used to a big dinner.
Yeah,
it frustrated her to no end. Plus, my health problems. She couldn't She didn't want to take care of me when I had a broken leg, so she left me. I'm an asshole, apparently. You know. Oh yeah. You tell women your wife left you, boom, you're an asshole.
Oh yeah, that's technically like 90% of the cases they say it's the man's fault.
Yeah,
if the woman leaves, it's the man's fault. If the man leaves, it's the man's fault.
Yeah, my second wife, she did the same thing. She wasn't even with me for 3 months, and she was gone.
Oh,
and
And I started gaining weight after I lost my gallbladder, though. I didn't know that was actually what.
Yeah, because it stores up bile for while you sleep, so that when you have your big breakfast, you can break everything down for the day.
Yeah,
but I'm trying slowly to eat the other way round, but it's very hard. I'm so used to eating at night.
Oh yeah.
But there are times that I eat even sometimes a sandwich, and I'll be very tired. And it's linked to the fact that I'm out of my liver. You can feel it, feel your whole body just so tired.
Oh yeah.
That you're struggling to digest. You can actually feel it in your guts. Your guts are bloated. Everything's. You can feel your guts trying to move, trying to squeeze. People say, "Oh no, you can't." Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you can feel it because it's pressing against your belly,
Oh yeah.
and you can feel your heartbeat. When your heart's been pushed against, you can feel the struggle. But yeah, I sympathise with people who have that problem with weight because I know it's not our fault, man. We've been fed garbage and and 2/3 of our meals are undigestible crap.
Oh yeah.
Victory.
Salads with green leaf. Our bodies only protest 1/10 of that. Corn. Now, modern corn, genetically engineered corn, yeah, we digest 2/3 of that, but the rest of it is tearing our insides as it's going through. We shouldn't be eating corn. We should be eating potatoes. White people are meat and potatoes. A couple of carrots, maybe a corn now and again, but
Yeah.
we're meat, bread, gravy, and potatoes, with sometimes carrot.
Oh yeah.
We've got to eat according to our genetics, and we've got to get back to eating our meals at the beginning of the day, because we used to do that up until the so-called food chart.
Oh yeah. Which food charts are for certain. Like I can understand it fitting some people, but they didn't do a mass study.
No,
people.
it was created by universities with the mentality of lowest common denominator. What food? How can we turn our food? How can we make Kellogg's? I think it was Kellogg's originally, but then it got hijacked by one of the big fast food companies. The food chart was basically, let's find a meal plan that we could sell to the largest population base we can.
Oh yeah.
Which is why you get some groups so thin and skinny and tall, and other groups they're short and fat, and other groups it's because food activates our genes. That's what our bodies are. We're a chemical concoction. Everything's chemical. Mm-hmm. No matter how much you wish it, you can't digest that third pizza.
Yeah.
We can't control our bodies. We hit our limits. The body's going to pile it on because it's in panic mode. Our body panics. That's our problem. We're not that great. We're not that sophisticated. If something goes wrong, it's oh well. Hope somebody can fix it. Our liver may regenerate, but its accessories don't.
Oh yeah. It's like technically I've had my gallbladder removed, my tonsils, adenoids, all that. I haven't had the
adenoids yet, but they're talking about it. Because once they swell, they don't go down.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can say what they want, but if you don't have insurance, they say, "Oh, you'll be fine."
Yeah, I've had the "you'll be fine" speech.
Yeah, and then when you have insurance, like, oh, I mean, you don't technically need to get it removed, but you should.
Yeah,
that's because they know they're going to get paid, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and again, the left exploit that weakness of society where there are greedy people and they go into defense industries, and when there's or hospitals or any large organization where they can exploit the most amount of people.
Oh yeah.
Now, there are
Power.
social situations where it's good to have a psychopath. Like, you don't want a doctor who's in the middle of an operation who just doesn't care.
Oh yeah.
But
Lost
at the same time, a grave digger, definitely you don't want a grave digger. You don't want an emotional grave digger
enemy
Yeah.
halfway to victory.
or an emotional mortician. You want somebody cold and calculated. The same as in defense. You want cold, calculated people to defend your country.
Gain the lead.
You don't want emotional bed shitters.
Yeah.
But the problem is we have an open society, therefore people get to choose their path. So psychopaths are free to choose
Cross the lead.
the path of exploitation rather than
Yeah.
put their skills to better use, because exploitation is profit and profit gets the girls.
Well, we're also starting to see a society where
Lost the lead.
the criminal is the victim and the victim is the criminal.
Again, that's where the psychopath has taken over.
Yep.
Sociopaths, sorry, the psychopaths. The sociopaths are using the psychopaths to get ahead. Now,
Oh, yeah.
apparently, nobody's ever explored the third option. We're in the prison of two ideas. Most people don't understand this, but the definition of the right is defined by the left. Post-World War II, the Truman administration pretty much redefined what the Republican Party is. Most people don't understand this. Eisenhower said he made so many mistakes he didn't want to run for president a second time. He didn't have a heart condition. He just didn't want to tell the public the truth until his memoirs, where he said, I appointed the wrong judges. I was misled by my advisors. Bad trade deals, bad peace treaties. Again, all because he listened to the university, the State Department, the university class, as they were called back then.
Oh, yeah.
And they did the same thing to Nixon. Since World War II, the right has been defined by rhinos. And I've been telling people, yeah, you can be a constitutional conservative, but you don't have to be a conservative. A fiscal and constitutional conservative are fine, but you need to be a social libertarian in order to run a country. You can't have an ideology that is befitting to a minority of people. You understand the difference, right? There's social conservative, fiscal conservatives, and that's why the Republican Party is so divided. But you have fiscal and social conservatives, but you have libertarian social policies, the Rand Pauls.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Rand Paul
lost the lead. Game over.
Rand Paul Sr. could have been president. Rand Paul Jr., I don't know. I don't understand what it is. You know that thing where you have a feeling about people and say, he's popular.
Oh, yeah.
Just Rand Paul doesn't have the popularity. He doesn't have the mass appeal.
But yeah,
he doesn't know how to sell his policies. He doesn't articulate well all the time.
Yeah. Now, see, it's funny because, like, with the whole politics now, people, they're split. Because I'll admit, Trump is not... I like Trump, but he sometimes will say stuff that, like, an average person would say, not a politician. And some people that rubs the wrong way. They think politicians are highly intelligent, which some of them are. Some of them are dumber than rocks. They just read from a script.
I apologize to our audience. Hello, Podcasting Dead. Hope you're still there, Black Angus. Ribbit.
I got lost in the game.
Yeah,
Slayer.
and I got lost. I normally I would try and find fault with the game and riff on it, but this is
Yeah.
just too good a game to riff on. I think.
Oh
This is
yeah.
Now what?
See, Seth and me and him differ because he likes the campaign. I'm more about the competitiveness of the other people.
Damn.
Which there's nothing wrong with what he.
Now, I don't know if it still runs. It doesn't run on my computer, on my laptop. It used to run on my old computer, but it died. The old Command and Conquer games. I got. Although apparently they're going to re-release a modernized update, but every time they try to do it, I don't know. There's always argument over who owns the rights, etc.
Yeah.
I think EA is just trying to hold on to the game engine for as long as they can without letting anybody. Because they're afraid that if somebody else creates a good Command and Conquer game, they're going to rise the ranks. Corporations always got one eye on their competition. They want to stifle the market as much as they want to dominate it. No new entries.
Oh yeah.
And if they can keep anybody from coming up with a good Command and Conquer game, they'll do it.
Kidding me?
But I think they're almost at the point where the copyrights run out for good. Because once the rights run out, if they don't produce another Command and Conquer, the rights run out, and then people will produce a game. But they've produced some real shitty Command and Conquer games just to try and keep the rights.
Oh yeah. Now, I don't know if you've seen it because you mentioned the Podcasting Dead. They wrote on here. Have you seen their show yet?
I don't know if I've seen Black Angus reviews, but not Podcasting Dead.
It's actually a good because they.
I'm not saying I didn't watch them because they're good. It's that I don't have a YouTube account.
Yeah.
I can't have a YouTube account.
They have a show on. I guess it's on Wednesdays. Yeah, Weird Wednesdays or something like that. That's my favorite show because they'll do like UFOs, ghost stories, stuff like that.
Cool.
And they're actually a really good show.
It's really weird. People can have me on, but I can't have a YouTube account.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
So can you watch YouTube still though?
I can watch YouTube, I just can't log into an account. And the problem is half these podcasts are locked behind an age wall without age verification. There are some of these accounts I can't watch. Or I can only see their unrestricted content. And don't forget, a lot of YouTubers don't have control over the ratings of their content.
Well, see, that's what makes me mad is like YouTube buries creators.
Yeah.
Like, if you look up my exact name, The Men's Room, you'll see shows that were like 5 years old and no one's posted anything in 5 years. And you'll see that before you see mine.
A lot of those accounts, their owners are locked out of them. There's a lot of accounts their owners are locked out of. Now, my videos, I was originally locked out of my account, but now the videos are gone.
Ooh.
Now, what happened is, first I got hit with a copyright strike on Hellboy, on the trailer.
Yeah.
Then they got hit with unusual activity on my account because somebody tried to hack into it. Then they said I'm a fake person and locked me out of an account again and asked for ID. And when I provided my ID, they hit me with 6 copyright strikes on previous commentaries of trailers.
Yeah.
Now, apparently one Okay, one in one day, yeah, but 6 in one day they banned me, and it was totally unfair because like there are dozens of people with trailer reactions to various movies, and they're still on.
Oh, that's just like
There's no
I
consistency in their rules.
I had a story that was like groundbreaking. Like I was like one of the first few to post a video on it, but YouTube took it down, and then all of a sudden I had to appeal it. But by the time I appealed it, the hype was over, so I didn't get hardly any views for it.
Yeah, that's another thing. How they suppress one channel because you have something before one of their big channels.
Yep.
Like there was a lot of question marks whether or not YouTube was padding this view count and subscribe count, because Logan Paul has millions of subscribers, yet some of his view counts are less than the Dan Bongino show.
Oh yeah.
And it's like Dan Bongino has 100,000 subscribers and 100,000 views. It's practically 1-to-1, whereas less than 3% of Logan Paul's subscribers watch his channel. It's like, huh?
Oh yeah.
But the copyright strike doesn't bother me, right? Because it said in the email, you do not have to do anything. You're just restricted. And I thought, that's fine. But they misled me.
Oh yeah.
They restricted my account, which means I couldn't access it anymore. So he couldn't even take down the video, and some channels like Etsy, he gets to edit his videos. Jay Etsy gets to edit his videos. Why can't I?
Oh yeah.
And Jay Etsy, 90% of his material is other people is criticizing other channels using their footage, and he doesn't mute the audio.
Yeah.
Although he has admitted that he's got hit with a few copyright strikes on music and had to re-upload, but he gets the benefit of the doubt. Again, because he's a big channel.
All right, man. I think we're good for the show.
Yeah, good for the show. Coming on 2 hours. Beautiful audience. Thanks for coming.
Oh yeah.
We had fun with Halo, and I'm not promoting Halo. I don't own Halo. I got no financial interest in Halo. I'm just saying, from a gamer's point of view, they have a better attitude than 99% of the game companies out there.
They really do, because you don't pay to win. You pay to look good.
Pay to play.
But you don't have to.
The game.
Yeah, you have to buy the game, but you don't have to buy all these stuff. You can earn the points instead of spending money, which is a plus.
And I do not begrudge the fact that Xbox charges a membership fee to use their online service, because, after all, servers cost money.
Yes, but they do fix that a little bit, because...
there is a free period when you buy the game.
Well, see, Xbox came out with Game Pass.
Yeah.
And what Game Pass does is it gives you like 150 games. It's a library that they update. They'll put some in, take some out, and that's like the game we just played. I got it for free because I have Game Pass.
Yeah,
and you get points. They recognize the fact that
they're more aimed at the middle market than the high market. I mean, no offense, but Sony's gone from the middle market to high market, and
Sony's actually consoles are going to be more expensive than the Xbox consoles. For the new ones.
That's what I said. That's why they're still in the middle market, whereas Switch is lower market and the Nintendo Cube is the higher market, although there's no middle market with Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the middle market, I think, I don't know if it's the majority. I don't know the gaming demographics anymore. I don't subscribe to industry newspapers or anything like that. It's just not worth tracking anymore. Where I did actually start my independent career before the YouTube as a game developer, as an
Oh.
independent game developer.
Yeah.
But I got into financial. My first wife didn't pay her taxes,
Hmm.
and boom, I got hit. I got hit, and I got bankrupted by my own government. Isn't that nice?
Oh yeah, that's lovely.
It's always
Ouch.
been it's always going bankrupt is always a joy. When they turn a $42,000 debt into $348,000,
Mm.
and then of course, game development went from buying $400 software to $8,000 software within a matter of 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Game making software now is ultra expensive, ultra difficult. Graphics, your average graphics guy is going to charge you $100 a sprite. You think
Yep.
it's actually cheaper than a comic book artist. I went to look at comic book artists. They're charging $120 a frame.
Yeah.
And most pages have 4 to 6 frames.
Yep.
Plus, they have a
So you're-
special fee for full page, an A4 fee if you want an A4 art. I don't know
Well,
how.
it's just like I got a comic book from the 70s, and it was 40 cents back then.
I used to buy Spider-Man for 10 cents from the local shop back when I lived in Sydney as a kid, and it was like that's when Marvel was so desperate to sell Spider-Man, you know. But then when Spider-Man became popular again, it shot to $1 within a few years.
Yeah. Well, my thing is like the next generation, they don't want toys, they don't want comic books.
The nihilists don't want to own anything because they're afraid of losing it. They're growing up with high crime where, you know, or mama, you know, is the only breadwinner, you know, and that no father in the house, no men's. Your little sister got a pretty dress every week, and you had to get hand-me-down shoes from the script shop.
Yeah.
Male culture is dying because of female dominance of the market.
Oh yeah.
Disney girl toys. You walk into a toy store now. Try and find the boy toy. It's not the boy toy.
That's like the Walmart up here. They have like 5 girl aisles and like 2 boy aisles.
Used to be under the Equal Opportunity Act 50-50.
Yeah.
But the Equal Opportunity Act was always designed to suppress men. Because as long as the girl aisles outnumber as long as men aisles do not outnumber the girl aisles, there's no violation of the law, and that's crap.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the floor plan to your average Kmart before they went broke. Although they're still operating in Australia and profitable here, 80% of their floor plan is dedicated to girls' clothes.
Oh yeah.
But gaming was our last stand, and we're losing ground there too because boy culture is dying. And the reason why boy culture is dying is because most boys only have a mother.
Oh yeah.
And consoles are too high end now.
Well, see, it's like you look at gaming computers. I was looking into gaming computers, and they cost outrageous just to get the like basic gaming computer.
To have the same as a Sony 4 and run the few Sony games that are on PC, although I don't think they're actually licensed Sony games. I think they're ported games. Now, the Alienware for $3,000 to $4,000.
Oh yeah.
My system, dual screen, a 1080 card, Fortunately, inbuilt sound was upgradable, so I didn't have to do that. Plus I maxed out the memory.
Yeah.
That was just on 3,000.
Well, see, what I would like the gaming, because see, gaming with the console now, you're restricted to. They've upgraded the looks, the graphics, and stuff. But what I had an idea is if when you bought the console, there was 2 rechargeable speakers that you could sit in the corners of your room, so you got that full surround sound without having to set anything up. That would
No,
change.
I liked consoles when they came with games like the Sega.
Yeah.
Now I liked the idea of having a PC that was cheap, that you could do your word processing and all that on, surf the internet, and then you had your console for gaming.
Yeah.
And that would cost you less than $3,000. But now it's one or the other.
Yeah.
You can't have your PC, or you have your PC and PC games, or your console.
Oh,
and again, it's because it's not just because PCs are expensive. They've hardly changed in price since the mid-90s. It's everything else has become so expensive.
Well, see, we were talking about it, me and my buddy, and we think in like 10 years, because PC gaming has gotten very popular. Very popular.
Because they had stuff like being able to save, screen capture, stream. A lot of streamers loved it because a lot of people loved the fact that you could multiplayer a PC game. It took consoles a long time to catch up on that. But also people were looking at the fact that they could use their PC for other things.
Yeah. But we think in 10 years, PlayStation and Xbox will become one.
Yeah.
Just to survive against the PC.
Yeah. Actually, I thought I mentioned this at the start, but maybe I said it in the pre-show. Eventually, Sony's going to come back at. Atari tried it, but I think Sony's owns the rights, and that is that's the console upgrade, where it's a keyboard system that with a hard drive that plugs into the console.
Yep.
And it provides everything that a PC. It's everything but a PC. It can do anything a PC game can, but faster. PC technology is poorly designed. It's backwards compatibility isn't as good as it used to be. You can't get you can't get a game pre-96 to run on PC without an emulation. And who wants those old games anyway? But we're eventually going to see the PC market split anyway into PCs and whatever the next generation is. Because eventually, as more and more people hate Microsoft, they are going to go into alternatives, and Apple may survive. We don't know if Microsoft will but PCs aren't going to survive as they are, because somebody's going to come out with a better machine and take over the market. Now, I thought the NT was going to do it, but they priced themselves out of the market by,
there's a company that makes these, and they look like this.
Yeah.
And it's got a built-in PlayStation, a built-in Xbox, a Nintendo Switch built into it, and it's a PC, but it's not an actual company making it. It's basically a small company.
Yeah.
And it's all in one. But if a big company does it, it's over.
That's how the Atari was originally designed. It was going to be an upgrade to a PC.
Yeah. But
they couldn't get the but then they couldn't get Motorola to sign off on it. And they said, why? Because they said we'd lose our Apple contract. But the thing is, what if the other contract had brought in more? Oh, then, they just never but Motorola was so married to Apple, and Apple's put them basically out of business. Motorola's a joke company now. They used to be bigger than Apple. Now they
keep trying to come back, but as soon as they start to bring out a new phone or something,
Apple
iPhone
crushes them.
crushes one.
Yeah. iPhone crushes them because they own all the rights.
Yep.
Now, again, just before we go, I want to sum up basically and say we are going to see a change in computing. The status quo cannot continue. People are beginning to not afford PCs again. And and if they can't afford PCs or consoles, there goes the entertainment industry. And as Henry Ford said, the best capitalist is the one who makes sure his customers can afford the most customers can afford their product.
Oh yeah, I mean you can say a lot about Henry Ford.
Oh,
I mean
he was
there
an
were some
absolute
dark
cunt of a
secrets
person.
and stuff.
He was a cunt
But-
of a person and a racist, but he was
Yeah.
right about making sure as many people as possible can afford your product.
And he had the idea that the Model A would be the last car you ever buy because it was one that the parts were easy to take off and put on, and it was simple.
Yeah.
Everything was right there.
Yeah. Now, of course, the conspiracy theorists on the left say, oh no, that mentality killed the electric car because there's too many parts. Parts. We're making too much money off part sales. No. The thing that killed the electric car was it was government subsidized.
Yeah.
People don't realize how dirty and expensive it is to produce an electric engine.
It actually causes 3 times the pollution than making a regular car.
Yeah. That's the cost of the car. As Tesla says, it's the cleaning up after the fact.
Yep.
It's the cleanup that costs us half the car.
And your average Joe can't work on it.
No. And your average Joe would probably kill themselves if they remove the insulation package to even look at the engine. But I think we should leave it on that because we could go on forever about Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
And whether or not, Elon Musk is Tony Stark or the Vulture.
Yeah. He did buy the Mustang rights though.
But
Did you see the new Mustang they're coming out with?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. But
the Tesla Mustang.
Did you get my I put my email in the private chat, okay?
Oh yeah, let me copy
that. Wait a minute. It's not try it again. Send. There you
go.
There it goes. Yeah. I actually remember when SpaceX was a Yahoo chat group. Back in the early 96. I used to be a member of the SpaceX chat group. Now, I'm not saying, oh, yeah, Elon Musk will remember me. No, because back then there were hundreds of people who were a member of, and a lot of us were just seeing whether or not Elon Musk was going to do what he said he was going to do. But he did, and good on him. Because one thing I like is people who do what they say, because at least then you know what to expect. That's one reason why I like Donald Trump, is because he does what he says.
Yeah.
It's and I don't understand why so many people go into a frenzy. But then again, they're putting their personal emotional beliefs ahead of what they see and hear. And that's what's happening with the gaming industry. It's become so emotional.
Oh, yeah.
Microtransactions. Don't use them. They'll go out of business. Don't like subscribe games? You could just type in free to play in the search engine. But no, people go, I want WoW for free. And it's like, yes, but you don't get WoW quality for free.
Yes.
And as I say often to many people, do you work for free? I'm not your personal slave. Do you work for free? Oh, but you make all this money. Not if it's free, because the people who pay, who can afford to pay, won't, because it's free. That's human nature. I understand human nature. I also stand the basis of economics. And I'll make this my last statement, honest. Do you know what started economics?
What?
Industrial pollution. They
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to limit production and limit production. The idea behind economics and capital was originally to get the longest lasting product at the cheapest price,
Oh, yeah.
to limit consumption. That's why once upon a time, and people can't imagine this today, one income supporting 4 people. I would love that economy.
Oh, yeah.
That was a beautiful economy. What happened?
Yeah.
Well, 6-figure university, 6 figures to get a university degree happened.
Yep.
The economic boom was killed by greed, killing the golden goose.
Oh, yeah. It can destroy it, too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, before we go, I noticed something weird. The timestamps are an hour off. I don't know what's wrong with my clock. But I can't see who's on YouTube. So I'm just going to thank Appalachian for American for coming in for a short bit. Thank Black Anglers for years for showing up, and a big thank you to Podcasting Dead for showing up. And if you even want, if we want to contact us, guys, tell me, will give us the email.
Yeah, and check out Black Angus Reviews and the Podcasting Dead.
I will try that, but I'm pretty sure one or the other is locked behind behind an age wall. But if you want to contact the show, there is an email for the men's room.
Yes. I'll put it up in the description.
Good boy. And I shall see you all later.
All right, see y'all
next time. See ya.